Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Arknights Endfield reaction. Today we have My World Blood Oath. This one was requested by Mythical Kaiser in the comments of the last video, and it's another Endfield song. It also, when I loaded this one, I saw who made it. It was just there. You know how like the page sometimes will kind of glitch when it loads? I'm sure you know what that's like. And then you see like the description sometimes. And I saw who wrote it, who made it. So Erik, Castro, and David Lin here. Some of my boys, some of my favorites of the squad. I fucking love their work, so I'm excited to hear more from them. But apparently this is only one of two versions. I'm only going to be listening to the tail version because that was the specific one they wanted me to listen to. But if there's enough difference, let me know in the comments below if I should listen to the other one, because otherwise I probably won't bother with it, but I'll just listen to it in my own time. But I'm only going to be listening to the one for this time. So without further ado, let's go! Okay.
Hide to go seek. Not that my clouds are free. My pearly white smile light up your eyes now. They got me beaming to I wanna taste.
You know, vocally, that's not at all what I was thinking it was going to sound like.
It's silent blood now. You roast the honey now. You are my weekly, the mark for me.
Ooh. That first verse kind of had like a stank to it. Now I want to know where the chorus goes. Oh! Oh, the stank came back. Whew. Goddamn. As if I expected any other results from these two. It just has such a good hook. Oh, man. It's like strangely addicting. God, that deep vocal pass. That like extra layer there. Oh. Yep. Yeah, I'm here for it. I'm so here for this. And I think I'm mainly here for it because it reminds me so much of the original Arknights like character themes. It doesn't feel like the other songs I've heard out of Endfield yet. So to start off, I'll kind of continue the thought I had at the end there. I think that these two just have their sound so ingrained in the original game, for me at least, that that's what I'm hearing here. But in general, it's not like there's any specific sound to the original Arknights or even Endfield quite yet. They don't really have like super unique identities between them. There's no real reason to separate those other than one's one game, one's another game. So there's really no reason to like separate that sound in general. And I don't think that they necessarily did here, but I also think that's why it's kind of refreshing, because it's not trying to do something different, you know? It's not trying to be its own significant identity, its own very distinct sound. It's just there, and it fits within the universe that we've already come to know. So it just kind of works, you know? There's no reason to overcomplicate it. And I also think the lyrics are really fun in this song too. Like, they're pretty tongue-in-cheek. I think that entire energy is pretty well encompassed with the song. And the only reason I'm assuming that this is probably vampire-based is the title and then some of the little references within the lyrics that are kind of pointing towards that direction. But that tongue-in-cheek, sort of like cheeky, almost kid-like energy, this like teasing, like the no takesies backsies thing that was in there. It sounds like somebody who's largely immature, but also has this immense power. Probably some form of, you know, vampirism would do that. If it like halts you in place mentally, you would just kind of sit there with that for a while, and that would be your personality. So I've always loved it when people put that into the music, reflecting characters like this. Like when you have a crazy character, make the song crazy. It's a pretty standard thing to do, but down to the point of super characterized lyrics is always a blast, because a lot of the time they're just getting an overview, but once in a while you get a lyricist like David who wants to dig into that a little bit more and get deeper into making the song so hyper specific to them and their personality. And it's just so much fun. I love that energy in general. And as far as energy goes with this song, I love the vibes this one brings. It kind of reminds me of La 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 by Naughty Boy featuring Sam Smith. I love that like hook in that song, and this one's very similar. I wonder in a way if it might have been inspired by that just due to the similarities. Also maybe a little bit of Camila Cabello in there. Like, it's just, there's potential that there's some inspiration there. It almost has this like Latin back end to it that I'm like, ooh, there's something else going on here. But I love that sound. I love those sorts of rhythms. As a drummer, shocker, the rhythms are going to be what pulls me in. And it's just so addicting to listen to. And this song has a very similar flair to it. It's just fun, you know? I mean, this song is in E minor. It's a classic for that sort of sound. You want to be able to go down and come back up. That key has a lot of both of those, so you can really slide around to whatever you need emotionally and be able to get the message across. And just for the overview, of course, for music theory nerds out there, let's start with the E minor here. We have that. Goes down to C, A minor, and then it kind of goes back up to a B flat, but that kind of comes in more when they go into the pre-chorus. Like the main chunk of the song, like where it starts, is pretty much just E minor, C, A minor, and then they do also go up to an A, but there's a reason for that as well. Again, we'll kind of get to that as we get deeper into the song, but those three chords are kind of where we start. And just to start getting into the music theory and why I think this song is so fun, it's in the key of D minor. That's a classic for getting that energy from both sides. You get a little bit of that southpaw, a little bit of the positive, but definitely some more of that like sadder, more tensive sound. And there's a little bit of trickery to that. We'll get to that. But just to start with the very top of the song here, we have D minor, C, A minor. That's kind of the core three that the song starts with, but then it goes D minor, C, A. And that's slightly different because we go up a little bit. That's a major fifth compared to the minor fifth we were on there. So it adds a little bit of that tension, which leads us into the next chord for that pre-chorus, which is B flat. And then we have this bounce around of B flat, C, and A, where it just kind of keeps you in that circle while we're being introduced to the chorus. And when the chorus comes around, we get even more adventurous. We start going down further from there. We have D minor, C, we go down to G minor, F, and then up to A to kind of finish that circle. So all that together without me yapping over it. And you can hear how that comes back around. We do again come back to that B flat, but really only for the pre-chorus. That's like specific to that moment. And there's really not much else going on in this. It's pretty much all the chords right there that this entire song utilizes. There's a little bit of fun that they seem to have at one point where I think they go up to an E minor, but I think that might just be the bass line that's kind of tricking me, because there is the potential of that. And if it is an E minor, it might be using a variant of E minor, something like that, which is just an alternative fingering for it instead of that one. It's just utilizing the root note and then the lower two to do that. So it's very possible that's what's going on in order to keep that body together, but it could just be the bass line there. So it's, I don't know, there's a little bit of variety there that does kind of get lost in the sauce when I'm trying to hear these songs, because I don't have all the like layers to listen to and look at and peel apart. I'm just doing my best hearing what I am and trying to compare that to what I can play. So this is, to the best of my abilities, roughly what the song is built out of. And like I mentioned, there's a lot of this movement that happens in this song, and it brings you between a lot of that. But that major fifth switch from A minor to A is probably like the hook of this song as a whole. Like musically, that's kind of where the entire song lays itself into the emotional tension, because you need that extra little bit just to get the song moving. That's why it happens right before we move into all of those chords that lead into the pre-chorus. And that's just pretty much music theory in general. You got to have something that adds a little bit of tension to be able to pull you in one direction or the other in order to change the energy of the song. So prior to that, for the like first verse section, we were getting introduced to this like more tongue-in-cheek sort of sound. It wasn't happy by any means, but it definitely wasn't like really dragging you anywhere. It was just kind of keeping you steady, like locked firm, right dead center. And then it's like, okay, well now we need to be able to move up. So we had to like bring that somewhere, and now it's brighter, and that's where the pre-chorus comes in. And from that point, we shift the energy of the song from something that is pretty static and standard, something that's just kind of cyclical and it keeps looping back into itself. We have to break that somehow. And it's a minor change. If I'm playing these like on top of each other while I'm talking, you might not even notice, but they do have a slight difference, and you feel that more than anything. So when you get to that point, you're like, ooh, okay, now we're doing something else, and it invites your mind to start accepting these other ideas as they come in. So this is just what music theory do, and doing a sharp or flat fifth is very popular for this sort of thing because it's so easy to work with. And that's actually something else that I'm not entirely positive with, but in the same context of that A working out, I have wondered if that E minor I was talking about earlier is an E diminished, because that would work. That would work within the key. But again, it's one of those things where I'm not entirely positive, because this could be it, and it does fit the key in general, but the essence of it just kind of being the bass line makes the most sense to me overall. But I would not be shocked if that's actually what goes on there, just to fit within the key and add a little bit more of that tension again, just subtly this time around, because we go from the D minor to that, and it's like, okay, wow, that's a lot of an adjustment, and then going up to the F, and it adds that tension that's right around these notes, like this being D minor and this being F, right? So we have D minor, this note right here is 1/2 step away from the note that they hit here, so it adds that tension because it's just a direct neighbor on the keyboard. And then when we move up to the F, we go back down from that up note back down to this A, and also we have the C, so we skip the next one up, and it's just all of that tension basically calling back to itself. So it's like, it works obviously within the key. It wouldn't be a part of the key if it didn't work musically, but also I just wonder if that actually was the approach, or if it wasn't the baseline thing I mentioned earlier. It really could go either way, and this is kind of where my inexperience shines through, because it's stuff like that that I'm not necessarily good at enough yet to be able to say confidently. And that sort of thing is exactly why people like Erik, Castro are the ones making these songs, and I am but a peon making videos, doing my best to share what I know and hoping that some of it is within the ballpark. I know I'm not completely off on the majority of the chords here, but that one is one that is going to haunt me until it's clarified. So David or Erik, if you happen to be watching this, please tell me if I'm wrong. But I've also been yapping about this song way more than I thought I would. It has been 19 minutes for me recording this. I'm not sure how much of that's going to actually make it in. I did have a lot of flubs on this one. I had to cut a lot, so it's very possible that this video is going to be like 10 minutes long. But either way, I hope you enjoyed this one. If you have another song you want me to get to from Arknights or Arknights Endfield, drop in the comments below and I will do my best as always to get to those. But if you don't want to do any of that, maybe just want to follow me and support me for more stuff coming in the future, you know how to do all that. And I'll see all of you in the next video. Goodbye!